So our first case study is Almere in the Netherlands. Almere is not a town you would probably go to as a tourist going to the Netherlands, but if you're an urban planner, I would encourage you maybe to check out Almere because it is such an interesting place. It's an entirely planned and designed city built on reclaimed ocean bottom. The development started in the late 1970s. It was intended to be a housing-focused community to provide housing for a growing population in about 20 or 30 minutes from Amsterdam. So there is very good access into the city, but it is its own contained city with employment, shopping, and everything else. The city's organized into different nodes. So there's different pockets of development that are surrounded by parks and green space. And the area that I'm going to be focusing on with this case study is Almere Centrum. It's kind of the core of the community, built as a mixed-use area. It's basically a giant sort of outdoor shopping mall. It would be the equivalent of like a lifestyle center with housing and shopping kind of mixed together. But when it was designed and started to be built in the 80s, it was basically a concrete jungle. There's very little green space within the heart of Almere Centrum. As I said, it's surrounded by green space, but the core of the neighborhood is basically all concrete. It's got big concrete plazas, lots of hard surfaces, not a lot of green space within the community. And what they've found over time is that heat has become a problem for this part of Almere. And so what they're doing now is actually retrofitting the Almere Centrum to be more green and less hot. So they're pulling up pavement in some areas to actually create areas, more green space and areas for water to absorb more effectively. They're planting more trees and putting in more landscaping to create more shade. They're using green roofs as a way to help mitigate heat and also absorb more runoff. So they're really doing a lot to undo the mistakes that were made in the original design of that neighborhood. And it's a great example of how cities can do that retrofit process, because if we're thinking about cities, in the US, for example, we have neighborhoods that are already built, they've already developed. It's really hard to go back in and fix mistakes that have been made in the past. Almere is an example of how we can do that, how we can incorporate through landscape boxes and planter boxes, things like that that can bring green into a neighborhood without digging up a lot of pavement. We can put boxes in and do elevated plantings, those kinds of things. We can use green roofs as an example. Buildings, even if they weren't designed to have a green roof originally, may be structurally sound enough to allow for a green roof to be put on it. So we can look for opportunities to do things like that. We can bring green back into our neighborhoods, and Almere represents an example of how we can do that.